Assalamualaikum, students and fellow physics enthusiasts. Most problems we encounter in classical mechanics use the applications of Newton's three laws of motion. But sometimes the problems get easier to analyze when the energy conservation law is used instead. So join me till the end of this video, watch and learn. And this is the question. At the construction site, a 65.0 kilogram bucket of concrete hangs from a light but strong cable that passes over a light friction-free pulley and is connected to an 80.0 kilogram box on a horizontal roof. See the figure below. The cable pulls horizontally on the box, and a 50.0 kilogram bag of gravel rests on top of the box. The coefficients of friction between the box and roof are given. Question letter A. Find the friction force on the bag of gravel and on the box, given that the coefficient of static friction is 0.700 and the coefficient of kinetic friction equals 0.400. Question letter B. Suddenly, a worker picks up the bag of gravel. Use energy conservation to find the speed of the bucket after it has descended 2.00 meters from rest. Use Newton's laws to check your answers. So, we are given the mass of the bucket of concrete, denoted by small letter m sub 1, equal to 65.0 kilogram. Also, the mass of the box, denoted by small letter m sub 2, equal to 80.0 kilogram. There is a bag of gravel resting on top of the box, and its mass, denoted by m sub 3, equal to 50.0 kilogram. And the coefficients of friction between the box and the roof, mu sub s, equal to 0.700 and mu sub k equals 0.400. As mentioned in the question, the bucket of concrete hangs from a light but strong cable that passes over a light frictionless pulley and is connected to um, the box, okay, on a horizontal roof. Okay. So when the worker picks up the bag of gravel, the bucket descends 2.00 meters from rest. Of course, the box is also dragged to the right, but here we of course have to assume that there is enough horizontal space on the roof such that the box doesn't hit the pulley within the given displacement y equals 2.00 meters. So our first target variable in part A is the friction force or static friction exerted on number one, the bag of gravel, and number two, the force of static friction exerted on the box. And lastly, in part B, our target variable is the speed v of the bucket after descending 2.00 meters from rest. Before the worker removed the bag of gravel, the box, the bag of gravel, and the bucket of concrete are all in static equilibrium. That is, the system is considered at rest. So we say that the box is being pulled to the right by the bucket with a force tension T equal to the weight of the bucket. All right, that is the force of the cable or the tension force, capital T, okay, which is just equal to the mass of the bucket of concrete, m sub 1, multiplied by acceleration due to gravity, or 65.0 kilogram times 9.80 meters per second squared, or the tension, capital T, has a magnitude 637 newtons, right? And since the box is at rest, all right, therefore, we say that there is a static friction, okay, that counteracts the tension force T. And this static friction, denoted by F sub S, is our first target variable. Before we determine the actual force of static friction exerted on the box, we need to first find out what is the maximum static friction, all right? Given that the coefficient of static friction, mu sub s, is equal to 0.700. So using the formula to determine the maximum static friction, which is mu sub s multiplied by the normal force exerted uh, by the surface of the roof on the box, all right, which is equal to the combined mass of the box and the bag of gravel labeled as m sub 23, and of course times acceleration due to gravity. All right, so we substitute mu s is 0.700 multiplied by the combined mass of the box and the bag of gravel, or 130.0 kilograms, multiplied by 9.80 meter per second squared, we get the maximum value of the static friction exerted, or the maximum static friction between the surface of the roof, right, and the box, equal to 892 newtons, right? This is the maximum, take note. But we are required to determine the actual amount of static friction on the box when there is a tension force, capital T. All right? Earlier, we already have computed the value of the tension force T. And we say that the tension force T is less than the maximum static friction. So therefore, the force of friction, or the actual force of friction exerted on the box, which incidentally remains at rest, right? The actual static friction is just equal to the value of the tension force, capital T, which is 637 newtons. This is in accordance with Newton's first law of motion, or the law of static equilibrium, the fact that the box remains at rest. So the summation of the horizontal forces acting on the box, and these are the tension force, capital T, and the static friction must be equal to zero. And that will only be equal to zero if the magnitude of the static friction equalizes, okay, but opposite to the value of the tension force, which is 637 newtons. And for the friction force exerted on the bag of gravel, all right, we say that that force of friction is equal to zero, right? Why is it equal to zero? All right, we know that the applied force or tension force is exerted only on the box, all right? It's only exerted on the box, and the static friction that opposes this tension force, Fs, equal to 637 newtons, all right, is only exerted on the box, right? Although we included the mass of the bag of gravel in determining the normal force that is exerted by the roof surface on the box, right? And that is how we were able to determine the maximum static friction equal to 892 newtons. But as far as the static friction exerted on the box, it's only equal but opposite to the tension force, capital T. So on the bag of gravel, the static friction equals zero because there is no horizontal force that is applied on the bag of gravel. So relative to the box, the gravel, or the bag of gravel, is also at rest, right? That is why if there is no horizontal applied force on the gravel, that means there is no static friction exerted by the surface of the box on the bag of gravel. That is, Fs on the bag of gravel must be equal to zero. In part B, we are required to use the energy method, that is the law of conservation of mechanical energy, in determining the final speed V of the bucket after descending 2.00 meters from rest, right? So we label here two critical points, point 1 as well as point 2. So point 1 means at the instant when the gravel, I mean the bucket of concrete, is still at rest, right? While point 2 is the point when uh, the bucket has descended a vertical distance 2.00 meters, all right, from rest, that is from point 1, right? And we take note that initially, or at point 1, uh, the system, right, meaning the box and the bucket, have no inertial speed, and so therefore their kinetic energy must be equal to 0. Likewise, if we assume that point 1 is our reference, all right, we also say that the gravitational potential energy of the system, that is, of the box and of the bucket, okay, is also equal to 0. Hence, the total mechanical energy of the system is equal to 0 relative to point 1. Point 2, the gravitational potential energy of the bucket and the box system can be expressed as the product of their combined mass, m sub 1, 2, acceleration due to gravity, and the displacement y. That is, PE equals 65.0 kilogram plus 80.0 kilogram multiplied by 9.80 meter per second squared and negative 2.00 meters. All right? Our delta y, or the vertical displacement, is negative because point 2 happens to be below point 1 being our reference. So doing our math, we get the value of the potential energy of the system equal to negative 2.84 raised to the third power joules. The negative sign of our potential energy is simply to emphasize that this potential energy is measured based on our chosen reference, which is point 1. Likewise, at the same point 2, the kinetic energy of the bucket and the box system can be determined or computed using the usual formula 1 half mv squared. All right? So that is 1 half multiplied by the combined mass, which is 145.0 kilogram, and multiplied by our unknown quantity v squared. And when we simplify, all right, the kinetic energy of the bucket box system at point 2, all right, may be expressed for now as being equal to 72.5 kilogram v squared. And we also consider the amount of work done by friction, labeled here as capital W sub F. This is the work done by kinetic friction, Fk, all right? When multiplied to the vertical displacement y, then we are defining the work done by friction. That is, work done by friction, W sub F equals 314 newtons. This is the amount of the kinetic friction, and multiplied by 2.00 meter, that is the value of y, then we get the amount of work done by friction equal to 628 joules. So, applying the law of conservation of mechanical energy, which states that the total mechanical energy of the system at point 1 must be equal to the total mechanical energy of the system at point 2. All right? So, The total mechanical energy of the system at point 1 was earlier computed equal to 0. And that is equal to the sum of the gravitational potential energy of the system, all right, the work done by friction, W sub F, and the kinetic energy of the system at point 2. That is, 0 is equal to negative 1.27 raised to the third power joules plus 628 joules plus 72.5 kilogram times v squared. And isolating the final speed v, we get v equals the square root, all right, of 642 joules divided by 72.5 kilograms. So we finally arrive at the value of the speed of the system, okay, v equal to 2.98 meters per second in 3 significant figures. So this is the speed of the bucket of concrete when it has descended 2.00 meters below the inertial position or from rest. It also means that the box has moved horizontally, all right, a distance equal to 2.00 meters, and at that instant, its horizontal speed must also be equal to 2.98 meters per second, just like the case of the bucket, since we treated these two bodies as one system. As our way of checking the answer to question letter B, finding the speed of the bucket of concrete when it descends 2.00 meters from rest. So we are applying Newton's second law of motion. But we first determine the value of the kinetic friction that is exerted by the surface of the roof on the box. All right? So the force of kinetic friction, Fk, is just the product of the given coefficient of kinetic friction, 0.400, multiplied by the normal force exerted by the surface or by the roof surface on the box, which is just equal to the weight of the box, 80.0 kilogram times 9.80 meters per second squared. All right? And that gives us the amount of kinetic friction equal to 314 newtons in 3 significant figures. All right? We're using Newton's second law because we know that the system, both the box and the bucket, are accelerating from rest, right? And the formula for Newton's second law, of course, is acceleration equals the net force divided by the combined mass m sub 1, 2, meaning the sum of the masses of the box and the bucket of concrete, right? The net force exerted on the system, okay, consists of the weight of the bucket of concrete, W sub 1, or M sub 1G, all right? The other force is the kinetic friction, Fk. So the vector difference, W sub 1 minus Fk, constitute what we call the net force acting on the system. And we divide that, of course, by the combined mass m sub 1, 2. Substituting, we get acceleration of the system equals 637 minus 340 newtons divided by 145 kilogram. And we get the value of the acceleration of the system, A equals 2.23 meters per second squared, rounded to 3 significant figures. Now that we know the acceleration of the system, we can apply this formula, the kinematics formula, in determining the final speed of the bucket of concrete when it descends 2.00 meters from rest. V squared is equal to 2 times the acceleration and the displacement y. All right? The initial speed of the system or of the bucket is understood to be 0. So that becomes v squared equals 2 times 2.23 meters per second squared multiplied by 2.00 meters. So we get the value of the final speed v equals square root of 8.92, which is 2.99 meters per second, also rounded to 3 significant figures. So if you compare this with our first answer, there is a very negligible difference. Using the energy method, we got the value of V equals 2.98 meters per second. Here, we got V equals 2.99 meters per second. So the difference may be considered negligible. So on that note, let me say mabuhay. Till the next episode, MashaAllah. Thank you very much for your indulgence. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Alhamdulillah.